Good afternoon, this is Jeff at Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at property address 15633 Southwest Collier Way here in Portland, in a Tigard area. We're on the left side of the house here, on the backyard side of the fence, and I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the home. We have a 3-inch ABS cleanout. Should you lose track of it, it sits almost directly in line with the gutter drain that drops down here on the about halfway up the side of the house. Checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running. You're zeroed out and off we go. There's a little bit of grease buildup in the flow line there. I noticed to be dropped in. We'll see how that looks once we reel the camera out at the end. The camera will do a good job at scraping a lot of it loose. Now, one of the nice things about your property here is that it's got a lot of downhill slope to it. Alright, swapping over to PVC pipe now. Little tiny bit of movement has happened at that joint. We'll revisit that on the way out. It's very minor. Something like 1/4 of an inch maybe. Is an offset from a very hyper-technical standpoint. It's nice to see someone, whoever installed this line, knew how to install a line on a steep slope. What you often get is someone that will run the line out and then do a nosedive. And they'll nosedive it down to the level of the stub coming out of the street. It's a very, very common location to end up with bellies. This one, they did some stair-step diving, which is what you want to do. More gentle gradation. So I'm just trying to clean some of the gunk off my camera lens here. We're going to go locate the camera head really quick while the pipe drains off. We'll pull back and take another look. Looks like your 3-inch ABS and then 4-inch PVC pipe by the time you hit the main here. Alright, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southwest Collier Way. Again, as you face the front of the house from the street, the line pops out the left side, about halfway up the left side of the home, turns towards the road, and essentially runs dead straight all the way out. Right down the left, just to the left of the driveway. You still have a little bit of water trickle into the line here. We're going to let that drain off completely before pulling in. Still just a little bit of water moving through the line here. I haven't had any water go through the clean out in a minute, so I'd imagine that should be draining off. The only other thing that would explain that is if that transition joint where there's a little bit of an offset is allowing groundwater in. We'll see here. As steep as this line is, these are usually ones that drain off really quickly. Let me check the clean out again here. Now, you know what? There is actually, it was hard to see at first without my flashlight. There is still a little bit of water trickling through the clean out. And my camera, at least out of the PVC here, has busted quite a bit of that. It's a combo of grease and some toilet paper stuck to it, which usually breaks loose a lot easier than just pure grease. I'm going going to stop here every now and then just to account for, yeah. All that water we've seen thus far is all moving water. There may be a fixture in the house that you can see how it's still coming from behind the camera head and not from that joint. That joint is so barely out of whack, I really would not expect that thing to be allowing groundwater in any way. That joint, I mean, from a just incredibly hyper-technical standpoint, is slightly offset. We're talking, it's not even a 1/4 of an inch, it's about a 1/16. Extremely minor. And that joint is sealed up completely. All the water flow you're looking at, all that water in general is moving. None of it is standing, but it's all coming from inside the house. So thus far, about the only thing I could even kind of recommend on this would be to maybe hydrojet it. The grease buildup is not outrageous. Now, usually when I get a continuous layer throughout the line like this is where I start recommending cleaning, and it more so has an impact on large households with lots of little kids that are wadding their toilet paper up like softballs. Otherwise, normal proper usage has very little effect on it at all. And realistically, a bit more of that will break loose after my camera comes out and just natural water flow goes through the line. So, all right, and right here, just out from the clean out, the line bumps to 4-inch pipe. I was wondering where that was. It is just immediately going away from the clean out, which is nice. If you ever want to do an addition or something like that, your 4-inch pipe is at least right up next to the home. Or a lot of homes, that 4-inch pipe doesn't happen until you get way out near the street or the right-of-way. And if you have to bump your diameter size up, you got to go trench up your whole yard. In this case, it's right next to the house. All right, I'm going backwards right now into the home. Tiny little bit of standing water as we go backwards here. At least thus far it is anyway. That's, about not even quite a 1/4 of an inch. It's not even quite going over the bottom of my camera lens. And the grease buildup that is in the line right now is going to exaggerate how much water is standing here to an extent too, because it displaces the water. So, for instance, I can't tell you this is exactly how it would play out, but, with the grease in there currently, you have a 1/16. By the time you remove it, you might reduce it down to a 32nd of an inch. Hard to say. Either way, this is not the kind of standing water I would generally go recommending you get crazy with and start tearing things up to go correct it. And that right there is the back end of the sewer line. That's where the line starts to go vertical there. And this is a great shot right here. The top of the pipe is not covered in any buildup. I wouldn't expect to see stuff like that. And what top of pipe buildup tells you, especially if you see a lot of it throughout the line, is that some particular area is leading to recurring blockages. We don't have that here. This is very minor stuff. In fact, as we back out here, the water level is even reducing. Sometimes this occurs from the camera, especially if you have a little water still trickling to the pipe. My camera starts moving grease buildup into the flow line area. Sometimes it can kind of artificially dam the pipe up. You can see how some of this grease right now is kind of sloughing off into the flow line. That's what I'm referring to. So it's entirely possible you may have zero standing water there at all. Either way, not the kind of stuff I would go recommending you fix. It's way too minor. But the camera will break stuff loose that hasn't been in the flow line for a while, and it just sloughs off behind the camera, and it causes that water to stand a little bit. Good looking sewer line there. Good flow end to end. All the pipe is in good condition. There is grease buildup throughout the line. That's the one thing this line could benefit from. It's thicker on the inside, which is fairly common. But structurally, the line looks good, but could use a could benefit from a hydrojet. That's about the only thing I could ever foresee anyone recommending on this if you were to sell the home, is cleaning the line. Otherwise, everything else in here is way too subtle and minor to go messing with. Sewer line is functioning at this time. It will have better flow and functionality after you clean it.